Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome. I'm Jon Binnie. I'm a spiritual psychic mentor, and I live here in Scotland, bonnie Scotland. So I'm here today primarily focusing on the predictions through the rest of July, August, and September. And thank you so much for all your views, comments, and likes. It's been so lovely to see my predictions videos really take off. So thank you for all your kind feedback. And today I'd like to really dedicate the vast majority of our energy on your questions, because you've been asking many, and I wanted to be able to make sure I get through them all before I then later this week, lightly at the end of the week, I will also do a follow-up video where we go into more detail about the layers of the onion of reality. So help us get started. And I always, in my work, I always make sure we create a safe space. And so let's just begin taking in a deep breath through the nose. And breathe out what no longer serves our highest good, nice and loud. Take another deep breath in through the nose. And breathe out any fear, stress, anxiety, nice and loud. And breathe in through the nose. And breathe out any remaining low vibration energy that no longer serves you, nice and loud. And from the golden light in the center of your heart, extend a cord up and connect into the highest dimension of source above. Remain connected to source, and from your heart, extend a cord of light down through the base of your spine and deep into the core of Mother Earth. We send so much love and gratitude to Mother Earth, and just bring that cord, remaining connected to Mother Gaia's heart, back up into your own heart. And expand out this light together with source and Gaia's energy below, and surround yourself with a golden bubble of protective light, with the intention that only energies and entities with your permission, your highest good, love and compassion can see us, access us, or exist within this space or within us. All other energies and entities must leave immediately. And invite in your spirit guides, your higher self, archangels that you choose to work with, Source and Gaia. And focus now on your heart. And to really help you with today's video, today's session, just allow your heart to gently soften and open. Allow your heart to open up like the rose, petals of a rose are gently opening up towards the sun and releasing that beautiful love energy. You're safe, you're grounded, you're connected into the highest aspects of yourself. So just allow this to support the receiving of today's messages and any healings. Okay. And I also create a safe space around all of us who choose to engage with today's video. And inviting my guides, my higher self. I also invite in Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Source, and Gaia. And our intention today is we're going to focus on answering your questions. And just before I do, I'd like to do a quick sweep up through the layers of our reality, just to do perhaps a one sentence, I don't know what the hands are doing, a one sentence update on each. Okay, so let's just connect in with Mother Gaia and the core of Mother Gaia, her very heart. And her message is preparing for movement, preparing for energy shifting. And this feels, we get nervous. I often get nervous when Gaia says she's going to start moving things, but she's always living and breathing. There's always magma flow beneath the surface. So much of the convection and currents of energy that flow beneath the surface of the earth is very active. And so this will continue. And then up to the surface of the planet, And Gaia is saying she would like to share some of the, she's going to answer more when we get to each of the questions, because I know that some of you have been asking about your local areas. So I'd just like to ask Mother Gaia to also, when we're answering these questions, just help broaden out some of the answers to, especially to those who resonate with today's video. And as we move above, so up onto the crust of the earth, up where most of us humans are, Gaia is also pointing out that there's a shift now. So the third dimension, imagine that's our physical forms. And the fourth dimension, which is more of the energetics of us. So it can include emotions, ghosts, spirits, various entities, and even some beings like, including Sasquatch. I also learned from the weekend, Nessie from Loch Ness. These are beings that are able to traverse between these two different dimensions, between physical and non-physical forms. What a beautiful evolution that is. So just becoming aware that as that veil between the two thins, so the separation between the third and fourth dimension thins, and this is because for many of us, especially if you're watching this video, good news, your vibration is rising, your heart is opening. You may experience dreams, certainly might last 2 nights in particular, if dreams have been very vivid, very real. And one practice I'd encourage you to do with dreams is to suspend belief that they're not real. So, in other words, when you wake in the morning, describe the events to yourself as you remember them of the dream as if they are real. I feel that it helps you understand that there is wherever your consciousness goes is a reality. Your consciousness is always creating a reality around it. This applies to our third dimension, fourth dimension, or wherever we choose to go in dream time, any other dimension. So just know that it's helpful to start to feel into that yourself and just practice your own discernment and, have a think about that, practice that, that feeling of the reality of dreams. And it'll help you understand that many of us, I'm doing a lot of work in dream time. In the past, it's often been working with Galactic Federation ships, helping clear up the fourth dimension, working in teams of 8 with other people. What I've been doing more recently feels more that I'm creating a home and settling a home. I was doing a lot of work in woods and forests in my dream last night. I can remember the conversations I had and the people I met. Okay, and then the other experience to make you aware of is the unknown unknowns. Now, you might not be totally consciously aware of this, but something in our souls is guiding us to platforms such as YouTube, because we feel that there's so much more to this, first of all, to the reality around us that we want to better understand and feel into. And there's also this matrix, this veil that's placed over especially our third dimensional reality, suppressing it and holding it down. And these used to be exclusively propagated by, for example, mainstream media, but that's now, absolutely in our social media platforms as well. There's no separation between them. But you could describe our news as being largely under-reporting or not reporting some of the greatest challenges that we face in humanity. And this includes a lot of the darkness that's sitting inside of us, all of us, and how it's propagating out across the rest of the world. It includes our lack of self-love, our self-doubt, our shame. And the more we can encourage ourselves, lead by example, and encourage others by us leading by example, we can help show this world that we can share our shadows with each other and just let the truth out. And so in particular, we heard about this in the last video. We're going to start to see over the next, it's now 2.5 months, right? So we're the 16th of July just now. Over the next 2.5 months, we'll start to see some of these scandals these really horrible experiences of child abuse, of the human trafficking and slavery as well, starting to get glimpses of that. Just know that there's this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? But there are significant portions, if not the vast majority of the proportions of the challenges we face as a planet that are not being reported. They're being repressed. And so, one way you can do that is by looking inside of your own heart and just sharing some of these darker aspects of your heart. We need to raise the bar as a human race and to hold ourselves accountable and say, I can't just hide this any longer. I have to share it. And the more we share with each other, the more it lifts that vibration out of low vibration shame up. It always feels better when you share, right? Was it a problem shared as a problem halved? So that will really help a lot of us and help encourage other people. Also, feel free to share, what you think is being underreported with others. You may even have a local newspaper or a YouTube channel that you want to report things to. So please, please do this. Share your truth. And you'll have seen recently I posted my deepest, darkest shadow work. So it's 2 years since my 2 years since my deepest, darkest shadow work. And I created a video and a song called Lost Ship. So take a look at my channel for that. I was posting it on my YouTube page, what it used to be called the community page. And was there anything else? So just coming up across the world, checking with my guides. They're saying there's preparations being made on the surface of Earth. There's alignment of, I describe this as a human way of describing this would be placement of angels, angelic souls in key locations. So if you've ever, I'm just getting beautiful shivers up and down my spine, these lovely sparkly energy, should I say. If in areas that are affected by many of the things I'll be describing today, where you're experiencing something more negative, expect an angelic soul to step forwards and assist you. So some of these, most of these I was shown are in physical form. So these are people, and they will come out of nowhere, literally, and help you. In those moments you really need it. In those moments that, you're in a fight or flight mode in particular, or you're worried and you're making preparation to move. So this is the Galactic Federation are supporting this as well. And what they're doing is people like me and you watching this are being positioned in the right location at the right time. And you personally don't need to do anything to prepare. Just be open when someone offers you help and you feel in their heart that it's for your highest good. So just bringing your awareness to that. And up into the atmosphere and up into the sun and the stars and the solar system. And I'm just connecting with the sun as well. So yes, the sun's heart is very much open. There's a really beautiful, someone said this, it might be in one of the, I think it's actually my YouTube page, someone posted this, so thank you, I'm sorry I've forgotten your name, is that the sun feels more feminine. So this is because the heart of the sun is open. And it's a beautiful demonstration of when the heart of a being, including our sun, in this case, the heart opens up nice and wide. You're actually capable as a being as you can receive more often than you can generate. And so the sun is now, with an open heart, is receiving more of these ascension waves. So these are codes and upgrades, and they are manifested through, we get a little glimpse of that through the Schumann resonance, but it's just a small part. It's like the tip of the iceberg. But these huge, broad frequency ranges, including, it's a whole other subject, but they're like colors and codes and DNA upgrades and remembrances. Some of these codes are literal symbols in waves encoded within the wave that when they touch your body, they come into your heart, your soul remembers, like, yes, it's time. And that's when you activate your own superpowers. Your soul, your higher self are working with you to help activate. And with the sun's heart open, we are now in full on fifth dimension ascension. So we are in the shift, if you've heard of that concept, and we're shifting our vibration as a planet through third into fourth and into fifth. And I feel that's why the fourth dimension feels so much better. It feels that in dream time, we really are preparing homes, like literally building homes. And these worlds overlap, for now, these worlds overlap, but over time, third, fourth, and fifth will separate. But for now, there's a massive overlap across these different dimensions. Okay. And just checking anything else across the galaxy and the universe that we should be aware of. I'm just being shown the area of space. So this is our galactic sun talking to me from the center of our Milky Way. And just paying attention to where Earth is moving around the sun. And then where also the sun is leading us. We're moving into this, and it does remind me, I must have heard some, science reports, if you like, of us moving into an area of space that is more conducive, so it supports easier flow of energy. So our sun's been leading us here to go through this place. It feels, what I'm being shown is where, fish, for example, go to specific areas, specific waters to be able to mate and, through laying eggs and reproduce. And so this is the rebirthing place for us, a place in space where star systems can pass through to support a smoother ascension. Okay, so let's get on with your questions, and thank you so much. I'm sure lots more will come through. And I have quite a lot of questions, so I'll just get a glass of water. And I absolutely love this work. So it's very energizing for me. So feel free to, throw lots of questions at me. I'm also happy to, collate some and merge some in time. But for now, we will get on with the questions. So the first question is from Artistic with a K World 4058. And it says, "Hi John, I live in Ireland and I'd wonder if you could query some guidance for here, please, and an X." Okay, so let me just ask about Ireland. And I'm asking above and below ground. So I'm asking Gaia, and I'm also asking my guides. So Gaia is reporting that through to the end of September, there will be a continued support for Ireland. I saw her bedding this energy beneath the surface, beneath the crust of where Ireland is. So Ireland, also shares some of the, the tectonic plates underneath, underneath the surface. And so there's this guy showing me just energy holding, similar to her holding her hands just under Ireland. And she said, there's truth about the history of Ireland that's going to come up to the surface. And this is some of the pressure that she's gently placing. So this is not pressure that causes, she wants to be really clear that there's no, tectonic movement or volcanic movement, no tremors, but there's this pressure, gentle pressure. And what she's encouraging is the soil and the earth to start to expose more up onto the surface. So these are ancient artifacts, for example. Some of this is connected with unexpected in our history in Ireland, unexpected civilizations having visited Ireland and also settled, having settlements and different sites there. And just asking my guides as well, it's to see if my earth elemental guide, Maya, has anything to say, or my galactic mantis guide, Marita. Marita, my mantis guide, says, John, Ireland, the Emerald Isle, so just beautiful green land, saying, she just says, I love the Irish. I love their hearts. They're in the land of the Emerald Isle, and they have these beautiful bright hearts. So the green, this beautiful green, this deep green for the heart chakra. And she says, we've got a lot to learn from the Irish, including she's showing this tight-knit sense of community and family, and how to treat each other. And she says also that in Ireland there's, and I know glimpses of this from history, Ireland's also very fiercely protective of its boundaries. And I would argue, every family, tribe, country should be, defensive, fiercely protective of their boundaries. And there's just this message of being aware of the fact that in our history, including through the 80s and 90s, that a lot was misreported, especially about troubles with Ireland and Northern Ireland, and to be aware that a lot of people were, I would say, victimized as a result of what was going on in the UK. So this was, how to describe it, there are more truths to be revealed about that history as well. And it helps bring more cohesion to the rest of the world about the understanding of what had happened there. And it does feel the more truths will continue to come through. Okay, thank you for that question. The next question is, if I can, Ulla Bella 4241. And he said, hi, John, at 1 hour and 29 minutes and 43 seconds, the question about lost souls. So I wonder if it is here where I live, because we have a place called Gravfault. The legend says that it is graves for Scottish warriors here, but they don't know exactly if it's true. There are 200 graves and 40, I'm going to struggle pronouncing this, 40 Bautestaner. It is near a village called Grebenstad on Sweden's west coast. They maybe want to come home to Scotland. Can you see if it's true? Okay, thank you for bearing with me through the pronunciations. So let me ask about this. So I'm also just going to ask to remote view and to see those graves as well. Yeah, I can see lost. I see the souls wandering on the earth. They're tied there. Each of them have a cord from their heart holding them to their grave. Yeah, it's really sad. And they've been used to it for this feels like a very long time. And I've not Googled it or anything. You've not shared any timeframes, but the Scottish warriors term, sounds much older. Just what I was being shown was cycles every day of these spirits of these warriors getting up each morning, and they'll go through the same loop every day. They'll get up and they can stand up and they can walk within something like 3 or 4 meters from their grave, but they're stuck and trapped. They're trapped into the ground. And they were, we could oversimplify it and say that when they were killed, that they were cursed. Certainly this was something that had happened. They didn't want the people that did this to these Scottish warriors was, they didn't want the spirits of them returning home to tell. They believed that their spirits would go and tell their loved ones and their clans what had happened. So for the fear of retribution, they tied their souls to those locations. Now, none of us can, there's no one really to ask other than the souls themselves about whether they would like to be set free. Because some of them are definitely they have their free will being compromised at the moment. I'm just going to ask Archangel Michael to step in as well and take a look at them. So firstly saying, thank you for bringing our attention to this. He wants to step in and channel through me, but I'm saying, it's okay, just tell me. I'm sure there'll be more opportunity for channeling later in the video. Just want to preserve my energy. He says, so he's speaking really slowly to me, like in humor. So he's saying, of these souls, and he's talking to these souls as well, of these souls that are trapped at this time, that are held to the ground and cannot move on, he's offering his sword to each of them. And as he does it, he's creating a copy of his sword. And he's giving them the choice to cut their own cord, to cut their cord to the ground. Now, they're all doing this immediately. They're all like cutting it straight away. And he says, don't leave yet. He says, don't leave yet. He wants to make sure everyone is accounted for. So not all of the souls, they've all got their own reasons, but not all of them are choosing to cut their cords. And some are just watching others to see what happens when they cut the cord before they cut it themselves. And this cord runs from their heart and it goes down below to their body, to the heart of their body, underground their remains. Okay. And Archangel Michael's just asking me to help open up a door into Source. And then also a door out to the third dimension or to wherever these beings choose. They don't all need to return to Source. They always get a choice. Archangel Michael, please assist these souls, whoever chooses to leave to return to Source, or who chooses to never return to that place again, or to us. You're now free to make this choice, free to leave. A couple of them are just speaking to me as they're traveling by, and they're saying, all we've really wanted is to return to Source. We want to reincarnate again. We want to come back to Earth. One of them saying to me, in a very broad Scottish accent, is saying, John, the fight is not over yet. It's like, that's true. That's my best impression. Okay, well, thank you. And just making sure all the other souls are settled, closing any portals and doors. And Archangel Michael, please do me a favor and just double check again on these souls, just in case anyone was sleeping or didn't notice this. To answer the question fully about the 200 graves, it's not, it's certainly not 200 Scottish. It fell around the 80 to 100 mark. And what I saw, those that were active, was about 60 or so. These are the ones that have since moved on. So if you're ever there, or if it's ever in your mind, Alabella 4241, you can also just, encourage any beings to help that are trapped, to help, for those beings that have the highest good, love and compassion of all, offer any help to help cut their cords and allow them to return to wherever they choose, whether it's Source or a different place. Okay, it looks like we're on to some quakes. So this is the next question. It's from Veritas Spirit 9461. And says, hello, do you see major earthquakes in mid-2026 along the entire west of the North of America? To northwest. Many psychics see catastrophic quakes followed by eruptions of Yellowstone volcanoes, ? Thanks, N. And it says, let the energy flow. Okay, so let me ask. So I'm going to start with Gaia. So there is a yes. This is just the first answer to that question is yes. And then I was shown that more happens earlier than mid-2026. So Gaia is saying she needs to shake it up. She needs to shake up the Northwest. She says there are some facilities underground that need shaken up and broken up. These feel that they are covert, dark ops, if you like, activities going on underground, and it includes also some currently under or unreported slavery and trafficking, human trafficking. And then she says, she's also, this is really, really specific, and I'm, bringing our awareness to some of the companies headquartered around that area. She says she does want disruption to them. She doesn't want, Gaia's saying she would love to always minimize the number of people that are displaced, injured, or even killed. And she says that these shifts there will be specifically these earth shifts, these initially tremors, and then some smaller earthquakes, and then they build up. So, I set the intention for our session today to go up to the end of September, and this question goes on to mid next year. But it's a ramp, it's an escalation, and the purpose is to help people begin to see, without a complete shock, like, oh no, this comes out of nowhere, that it's possible that disruption is caused. Initially it's infrastructure challenges. So in particular communications, and that's really interesting. So I saw some internet connectivity issues and communication issues, not down for weeks and weeks, more intermittent on and off, and making people really think about some of their choices. And Gaia says that when she disrupts, so when you bring this disruptive, chaotic energy into, there's we have loads of grids and matrix, right? We have power grids, we have communication grids, gas, water, streets, our homes and high-rise buildings and tower blocks and all these things. They're all constructs, and they have almost no flexibility in them. So she says when she brings in her energy to help disrupt this, what happens is that it brings our conscious awareness to all the different things we need to do. So for example, for me, if I lost power in my home right now, well, actually I've just invested in a new solar system with a battery, so actually it would keep running. But let's say that failed, then my phone would still be on, right? And I'd be thinking, oh, it's actually really important for me to have power. I'm going to pay more attention to the consumption I have of power, and also think about more contingencies for losing power, losing internet. One example is this video right now is just being recorded on my phone, and later I upload it. So I'm not using Zoom. I'm not reliant on an internet streaming service. So these aren't, and she keeps leading me away from the kind of doomsday style catastrophic challenges in the next 2.5 months, more that we're going to start to bring our awareness to the potentiality of us wanting to, first of all, be more flexible and more durable in the way that we consume power, water, food, and internet. And then as that begins to escalate through into mid next year, yes. I mean, there was how to describe the initial answer from Gaia. There was no hesitation, just yes. So it's important to know. Up until a year ago, for 8 years, I went to Seattle and in the northwest coast of America every 3 months, and so I know the area quite well. And although it's the other side of the planet, the weather's so similar to Scotland, where I am in Scotland. But just bringing awareness to there's a whole shake-up required, and this disruption is more targeted at these lower vibration behaviors. So inflexible, old systems, many of which are corrupt and many of which are fueling greed across the planet, and in the local area also causing, being able to hide a lot of really dark human activity that needs to be brought to the surface. So keep an eye out for that as well. The catastrophic side, and you might be listening to this thinking, oh, should I move? Should I, I have loved ones there, or I'm concerned about the area as it's maybe near to where you live. We heard a bit earlier about angels, right? We heard this term, and I'm not using the term archangel. I'm saying, and a better term is angelic souls. These are people in these places already in situ who will be helping others. So this is also Gaia's way, working with her local team of earth elementals, air, water, fire, and one element we don't talk so much about, the electrical side, that she'll also be making sure that there are souls in place. So this is very much Gaia working in collaboration with people's higher selves, their spirit guides, and individuals just feeling guided. Just like I felt guided to go to the Orkney Islands last week and visit Loch Ness as well. Okay, so the next question, and thank you for that last question. The next one is from Joan Dara. Joan Dara 478, and it says, question for Gaia from a first-time viewer in California. Hello, with ancestors from the Isle of Jura and Edinburgh. Ooh, I live really close to Edinburgh. I'm about 30 miles east of Edinburgh. It says, how did the California gold rush that began in 1850 impact the earth? What does the removal and dispersal of so much gold from the soil do? I'm very interested in the healing that needs done. Love this video, and I put a link in my desktop to be able to easily find it again. This really spoke to where I am at these days and answered meaningful questions, especially about the traveling to places to do healings. Thank you. Well, thank you, Joan Dara 478. So let's ask Gaia, and I'd also like to just raise the consciousness about this as well up to my guides. I'm going to ask my guide Maya, the earth elemental, and also my lion guide, my lion being guide, and his work with the Galactic Federation. Any of my other guides are welcome to answer too. So I'm just being shown, I'm being brought back to that specific question, because gold rushes do, sorry, I'm just reacting to some of the energy of this. They do all have an effect on Earth. So as I go back to that time frame, 1850 and the California gold rush, so the very first thing is, the first impact is when a miner, so a human, with this guy is showing me, it's a very strong and quite overwhelming feeling. Just feeling it in my throat chakra as well. when a human who is fueled with this energy of greed goes down and touches gold, so when they're mining or they're sifting or just finding gold, as we know, and one of its purposes is is high conductivity, and so it is the gold to Gaia is a very precious mineral in the earth. And she says that the first concept to understand is that when someone touches it, when their energy, when the greed is dominant, this low vibration greed, and it's this lust, this almost a gold lust that they have, this gold fever. When they touch the gold, that energy is transferred into earth. And so Gaia feels it. She said that's the first impact, and she does not like that feeling. Imagine there was a parasite on us, on your body, and it was, just gorging itself on your flesh. She says that's the sensation that Gaia had. And my sense is that, that's a surprise to me. It's quite horrible. Let me see if there's any other impacts that this has. So she's just showing me a bit more about the impact to the area. She says gold is a highly conductive, energetic fast track for Gaia. So it allows her to get healing and energy to the right places, fast down gold. She's showing me veins, gold veins on the earth. She's saying she can place her energy together with her elementals onto that. And it's like putting her healing energy on a highway, and it just shoots off to its destination, off and up to the surface, towards the surface living creatures, the animals, insects, plants, and even humans. So this is like the opposite effect of the human coming along with gold lust, gold fever, and touching it and causing this opposite effect of a low vibration energy that gets sent down towards Gaia and affects the area. The removal of the gold also stops this fast tracking of healing energy. So she says that she understands why humans do it, and she's not opposed to humans mining. I think that's really important to understand. But she says that if, for example, she's using me as an example now. I'm not perfect. I'm no saint, right? I might even have some gold on me. I don't know. Maybe it's in my watch, or it's a cheap watch, but maybe some of the moving parts are in my phone or something. It's just that she's saying that ideally what would happen is humans would have attunement, communion with Earth, and then would ask where and how much gold they could take. And there would be an exchange as well. And so you're asking about this, Joan Dara, really the areas that have had gold removed. Gaia is less worried about her and more about the immediate area from where the gold was removed, because she had an intention to help. So if you're ever in an area that's had significant gold mining activity, then you can, as I do with my day-to-day work with quantum psychic healing, you can just spend some time and, talk with Gaia, connect barefoot in the ground, connect with the stones, the land, the earth, and ask if you can offer any help. And can you offer yourself? Can you offer your body temporarily for where it serves your highest good? For as long as it serves your highest good, perhaps for just 2 or 3 minutes, to share some of Gaia's healing energy from her heart across that affected area. And perhaps we'd also just like to, given there's likely a lot of us watching this video just now, if you just take a deep breath with me and let's send some healing energy to all the areas where we've been mining as a human race, not just gold, but other minerals as well. So take a deep breath in through the nose and release that healing energy from Mother Gaia's heart out through our hearts and across this planet to wherever it's needed the most and wherever it accepts it and consents to receive it. Good. Okay, thank you. The next question is from, and we do have a few from Angie Gutierrez. That's how I'm pronouncing your name. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Apologies if it's wrong. Angie Gutierrez 223. And you're asking, what does spiritual colors represent? I had a new guide introduce themselves and they appeared as a pretty Christmas ornament. It was pointed at the top and bottom. It was rounded on the sides. It was gold, brilliant white, blue, and had a red center. Please explain what these colors represent. Okay. Thank you, Angie. So the first point is, if any being introduces itself to you, I always recommend you do this practice. And that is, don't believe them who they are. It doesn't matter how colorful and shiny they are, or how bright and bright white light or golden light they are. Or even in that moment, they might even feel quite convincing, right? So this is just a really good practice. What I would do, if a being makes itself aware to me, I would place my hand on my heart, just as I do now, and I'd say, Spirit guides, is this being one of you? If not, Spirit guides, who is this? And, holding your hand on your heart and allowing the answer to come in through your heart. And you can ask your heart the same question. Not all of us are used to, are comfortable with asking questions out loud with our spirit guides and then also receiving them in our hearts. The human heart is incredible. And the human heart, your heart has the ability to discern whether a being is a spirit guide or not. Now, I'm going to, since you've been asking me about the colors, now you've not asked me that it is whether it's a spirit guide or not. But let me just ask one of my guides' opinions. They said, it's possible it's a guide. This is something you need to confirm, Angie, with your own guides, your existing guides. It is definitely new. And so our spirit guide teams for many of us, are often going through continual change. And I see with many clients having around 30, sometimes even more, guides in total. So these are souls across space and time that they've shared some interaction with, or at very least have agreed to work with in this life to receive their partnership and guidance. Because our spirit guides aren't our bosses, right? They are partners supporting us. And then the other aspect of a spirit guides there's often around 7 or 8. Those numbers kind of vary up and down a bit, but there's a team, and there's a beautiful kind of critical mass about the 8 spirit guides where they're active for you right now. So if you were to ask them all to appear to you, to do a lineup, and that's one of the things I teach in my Higher Self foundational training, that's coming up in October. You can buy it on my website. But in that training class, it's one of the sessions we do is we get each spirit guide to step forwards and to show themselves, including colors, where are they from, what's their name, what do they look like. And you'd be amazed. Many people go into that session having never met a spirit guide, not having any names or direct experiences, and they come out with many, often all of their spirit guides identified, or active spirit guides at that time. So the colors, first of all, the colors, I would say, always practice discernment. Practice discernment if you're ever going to Google something, right? Because Google's just full of stuff, and especially now, it's just full of loads of opinions from other humans. And for example, you might hold, so if I was, for example, to look up the chakra colors, and I would say these are a little bit helpful. But I know from hands-on experience that people's chakras, are in different colors, right? And a lot of it depends on the frequency and the vibration of them. So, for example, you ask in your question about gold, and if you looked up the that color. It's the solar plexus. I can't quite show you because the camera is too low, but it's just at the sternum here. So just over the stomach. But you hear me when I'm working with gold, also connecting up with golden cords up into source and down into earth. And I feel that this golden light is very much a blend of light and love together. And it's a very divine, highly conductive, as we heard about, the gold mining color. And brilliant white. So brilliant white for me is how I see source. And if you watched my live stream, the replay will still be available. If you go to the live section of my YouTube, we did a fifth dimension Ascension class. So they're free classes I run every couple of weeks to really help empower people to do this work themselves. In that class, I connect in with source and I channel source. And I often see source as a brilliant white, almost a white that has no depth and definition because it's so beautiful. And blue, that's the throat chakra. So, you could say so far you're getting, and this often happens, right? That when beings show themselves to us, depending on the openness of your third eye, you'll see the different colors of how they're feeling at that time. What you're really seeing, or should I say more specifically, perceiving, because you can use all your senses with your third eye to receive, you're perceiving, in this case, how they're feeling in their solar plexus, how they're feeling in their divine higher self and soul aspect of them, and also in their truth, in their throat chakra. Perhaps they're getting ready to talk to you. And I think you also mentioned red center. So red is the lowest color. It's the root chakra. So this could be their, what I often see in spirits, if you like, they will lower the vibration of their hearts. So for example, connecting with their lowest vibration aspect of them, their root chakra, and use this lowest vibration of them, because what they want to do is they're trying to attune as close as they can to you. For many spirit guides, that's still typically down to about the fifth dimension, but some can come into the fourth dimension. It's still quite far away for us, right? So they're trying their best to come down to meet you. So I hope that helps. And then Carrie Hoover says, are there any volcanoes near DC? So thank you for this question. And I love how short it is. So let me just ask. And it's interesting. I would say it's about a year and a half since I was in Washington DC, and it was incredible. I did get to briefly see, you call it like a motorcade, would you? Like the convoy of the president as he was going in and out of the White House. And yes, I got to experience some of the energy of the place. So let me ask. So we gave a time frame of up to end of September. So just asking Gaia, and also I'd like to ask the sun as well to give some opinion here. Interesting. So there's this. So the sun in particular has this clenched fist energy and is rattling the earth there. This seems more targeted at the Pentagon. Not so much what you see on the surface, but also what exists below. There are psychics working for all areas of, and all countries at some level of government and defense. And so there is some awareness of this, and I saw solar activity directed at that area. This is to help shake up what's underground. The volcanoes are possible, but what was stronger was the earth tremors in a very targeted area. And I don't, we have tons of sensors around the world, right? And including increasing numbers in our oceans about, trying to detect seismic activity. But actually, we're not very good at looking at very specific areas, for example, a street or a building. And in fact, if that happened, especially in the DC area, some of the first reactions may be that it's some sort of attack from another country. The sun in particular wants to shine light. I saw sunshine shining down into the underground complexes there. And you said you're asking for a friend, Carrie Hoover, and if this affects you, if you're in any way aware of it, I would say this of all of the questions that I've received answers about, areas, this is the most specific, the most specific targeting of earth tremors. And Gaia is, confirming that too, in addition to the sun. So another question from Angie Gutierrez, 223. Just 1 second, I'll get some more water. So she says, can I ask Gaia if there'll be tornadoes that are F4 or 5 in the US this year? I had an extremely vivid dream about them. I saw monsters. Thank you. And I'm hearing some of those noises now. So let's just broaden that question a little bit and ask about any of the Fs, if you like. And let's also ask about, first of all, the next 2.5 months, so up to the end of September. So within the next 3 months, we're going to see one of them. And I'm being reminded, so when I first read that question, I did get the first answer to that, which was there are 300 mile an hour plus tornadoes coming. And I'm just asking where. So this is later. This is after September. Into December. Interesting. It seems that I'm not a meteorologist, right? And I've never, I've seen tiny little minuscule tornadoes before in Scotland, like little wisps of air, but I've never, seen one or been near one. And my basic understanding of weather is that they tend to be around like hotter seasons, which is why December seems to stand out as being so different. But it's going to make more sense that was Gaia's message, is that it'll make more sense with the context of the weather of what goes on at that time. So it doesn't need, the whole kind of the whole hemisphere doesn't need to be in a hot state for tornadoes to build up and exist. And it also catches quite a few areas by surprise. Is there any purpose or meaning or anything people can do for awareness? Okay, she's saying 3 weeks before this, there are bursts of heat. So look out for these into November and December, these heat bursts. She's showing me a resonant wave, a resonance wave coming out, these arches coming out. Are these artificially created, Gaia? She says no, but again, many people will consider that to be true. Okay. And I remember another shout out to Stefan Burns. Love his content. I remember him saying, just as the sun is showing me just now, is that what can happen is these smaller weather effects can be affected by the space weather. And the sun's saying, yes, that's the context, that's the buildup. So look for solar activity, increased solar flares, and then after about 3 weeks of quite intense activity, starting to see, and that word monsters keeps standing out to me, Angie. So thank you for that. I wasn't given the specific area. I kept being shown more north. The the north of the US, but not specifically. It felt north mid. No, but there was this huge movement, and not specific. No being, no consciousness decided specifically where it's meant to go. And another question from Angie Gutierrez 223 is asking, can you please ask Gaia? Oh no, this is the same one. Great, John, well done. But it is another question. If I look at it, it says, I don't know if you know, but the polar tilt started in 1998, experts say. Can you ask Gaia if this will happen in 10 years? I don't mean to be pushy. It's just, it's been predicted by Edgar Casey and a couple of other modern psychics. So could you please ask Gaia about what she thinks? Okay, we heard some, was this covered in the last video? I've been talking about this recently. Gaia's showing me again, she's showing me her wobbling. So this, or tilt as our modern scientists are describing it. But what's starting to happen is Gaia says there will be a flip. This is, the feeling, the energy in the question, and also in these terms such as, tilt, and then polar flips where north and south flip around. There's this feeling of kind of, global catastrophe and the world's going to end. This is not the energy that Gaia has. She says she's often moving her own energetic body, her chakras around under the earth. And I've seen just in the last few years her heart chakra center more on the very center of Earth, and the center of England on Earth. And not everyone will tell you that. Not every spiritual psychic person will say, oh, this is where the heart chakra of Mother Earth is. I've heard of many other locations, and you can Google it as well for lots of other opinions. As part of that, what happens is that as Gaia shifts and realigns, so a lot of what she's going through is realigning herself, not just within her chakras, as we have our crown chakra, third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacral chakra, and root chakra. There are more, but these are the most common 7 that we talk about. As she brings these more into alignment, it does cause some shifts where she switches them around, but they will come back. Now, I don't know what the reaction would be from so much of our infrastructure that relies on North Pole, for example, but know that it switches back. So yes, there will be periods. And let me just ask, what's the time frame? She says she wants to get a lot of the surface activity out of the way first, and then the polar shift work, where she swaps the north and south around to be within the next 5 to 10 years. So it's not going to be everything at once. Gaia is not trying to destroy us, right? And I say it in jest because sometimes it feels like that, right? Or should I say I respond in jest. Gaia is saying absolutely seriously, she's not trying to destroy the planet. It just feels like that sometimes when we're not understanding why specific areas are affected. Okay. So thank you for those questions. And then Suzanne Talley, 1288, says, thank you. I'm a conscious channel and I've studied spirituality for almost 80 years. I want to know more about how to transition from 3D to whatever upper frequency I'm capable of consciously. I can do it, but I do not always have a clear awareness of where I am on my metaphorical slider button of frequency awareness. I ask this because I am known to slide up or down with the next thought. And then a little emoji doing this. Okay, great question. Let me get some water. So Where do I start? So I'll start with, on my drive to Orkney last week, I created a video describing this in somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour plus about both how to do this, how to ascend to higher vibrations beyond the third dimension, and then also my experiences as much as I could. And it's not super structured. It's just me driving and talking away just like you're next to me. So you have to join my YouTube members channel. Now at the moment, there's not huge offerings for members, but one of the things I am doing, I did post some of those new videos, the big long videos. So if you love a long, sometimes rambling, but also full of some of my juiciest work, then you can join as a member and access those videos. So I would say there are a series of really important things to do. And I did actually post my newsletter yesterday, and it's a free weekly newsletter. And in that, I talk about the sun opening and then the different practices you can do to support your own heart opening and your own ascension. The first thing that's really important to acknowledge is that you will slide up and down, that I slide up and down. If you rewound my life by a year and a half, I was still working at Amazon as a senior software manager in artificial intelligence and running teams and talking to VPs and doing, presentations to directors and affecting millions of people's lives with what I was developing as very ethical AI. But my heart wasn't in it, my soul wasn't in it, and I wanted to do this work. So my vibration shift between those two is quite dramatic. I'd find it hard to do an impression of myself back just a year and a half ago, but back then I was more serious, and there was a lot more worry about, I really wanted to leave my corporate job. So there's a lot of fear and anxiety within me. You might feel some of that in my heart if you met that version of me a year and a half ago. And on that journey, for me, it's been a constant rising. So some of the key things to do are make sure that you have, so all the work's internal. Good news. Also good news is you can do most of the work yourself for free, if not all of it, right? And it's all the answers you seek are within you. All the superpowers you need are within you. Often why you will come and watch videos like this or come and choose to work with someone like me is because you need additional support and guidance, so you want to run faster. You need some help. So the first thing to do is have a regular meditation practice. For me, that's a non-negotiable part of my life. I'm not dictating to anyone that you have to meditate each day, but even 5 to 10 minutes. And I used to do this, I just started getting up 5 to 10 minutes earlier each day, and I would sit and meditate. You don't need to be in perfect Zen meditation, but you can connect with my, for example, my free 14-day spirit guide meditations. And it's a challenge that uses the same meditations that I still do today, including the one today. Helps you talk with your spirit guides, clear your energy, face shadows, help cultivate inside of you this opening of your heart. And your heart is absolutely the key. So what I hope you feel in my heart just now is my heart feels really open. A nice big open heart feels empowered to be able to do things like talk to high vibrational beings, to continue to drive my life in the right direction by receiving all these beautiful things, including where you see me right now, feeling in flow and in my element. So a meditation practice, and in that meditation practice, continue to then consider fear. So I face my fears at least once a week, and I talk a lot about my fears. Whenever a fear comes up, you'll hear me talking about it. Some of the last ones, or some of the unresolved fears, still for me would just be like walking up to someone in public while I'm vlogging and interviewing them, and it's like I don't know what I'm scared of, but I know that it's a fear. So whenever you have a fear, and I feel like my heart would like contract, and that I would, my heart chakra would close and I'd feel defensive. So making sure you're able to open up and face these fears. So facing your fears at least once a week. I do a lot of work called shadow work. There's a lot of meditations that I offer about that. And it's also a dedicated part of my higher self foundational training. Then there's also a whole range of other things. So creating strong sovereign boundaries around yourself so that you're not just constantly bombarded with energy and you're subjecting yourself to stuff that's just not helpful to your continued development. Letting go of all the things you don't need. I downsized my house from a 6-bedroom house to a 4-bedroom. We sold our car, our holiday house. Like we just got rid of everything. We continue to. We're thinking of selling our caravan, our trailer as well. Like just continue to declutter, to simplify your life. Includes the relationships and people you have in your life. All these aspects are very helpful. They're some of the key things. And then also, as your fears come up, sending them love and compassion, seeking the lessons within them, and then taking the steps you're guided to work through them. Look after your body, eat sensibly, drink plenty of water, eat foods that, fill you with amazing vibrations, feel the energy of food. So yeah, a great place to start is my higher self foundational training after you've completed your 14-day spirit guide meditation challenge. You can repeat that as often as you like. And also have a range of other meditations. Know that you will go up and down, and that in simple terms, the third dimension's physical and supports low vibration emotions such as shame, right? And then when you go up to the higher aspects of the third dimension and up into fourth, so this is your body feeling, I can feel it in my heart lifting this happier, higher vibration, then you're stepping up more into the energetics. So more up into joy and happiness and unconditional love, and reaching up into fifth as you go up through these different layers of the onion, like an ogre, like Shrek. As you go up through these layers, you start to have less ability to reach these lower vibrations, right? So yes, I feel, I'd be capable of shame. I can't think of anything I'm ashamed of right now, but if I had that feeling, it would, I could probably pull myself down to it. I also feel that on our ascension journeys, as we rise up, we're all doing this individually. We're doing it individually. We're doing it collectively. Planet Earth is already, Mother Gaia is already present in third, fourth, and fifth dimensions. So no, you've always got a home there, just like you heard me talking about building homes in the fourth dimension. And there's always going to be a physical place for you to exist in. Okay. Cosmic Light Source 111 says, "Hi, John. First time here. Loving your grounding, loving authenticity. Thank you. Thank you so much." I feel that my energy and authenticity is my currency, if you like. And the fact you're here in Scotland. Yay! Let me know where you're in Scotland. I'm in Dunbar, east of Edinburgh. I wonder if at some time you would ask Gaia or your guides about the animal kingdom. So many are choosing to transition this year, and I wonder how much of a role they'll be playing in the new earth. I never hear any channels talk about our pets and greater animal kingdom's presence in the new world. They have such an important part to play, teaching us how to give and receive love. Will they still be an integrated part of life? I'm an animal healer using frequency, and there's such a lot of animals in need. Thank you. Okay, so you've asked me to ask Gaia, and I'd also just like to open up and ask, is that what you said? Did you ask Gaia? Yeah, you did. Let me just check with my guides as well, and any other of the beings I invited in to help answer these questions. Gaia is, first of all, just pushing forwards. She's saying, first of all, animals, all living things, including plants and trees and insects, all of the living things on Earth are children of Earth. And said, absolutely, these higher vibrations are not just for humans. I have my beautiful little papillon patch here. he's in lots of videos and photos, and I don't want to wake him up. He's right next to me, and one big thing that Gaia is showing me to remind us all of is the role that they're playing right now. So, for example, yesterday I was doing a very intense negative entity removal service for a client. I didn't want Patch in the room for that because I know what he does energetically. And this happens a lot for our pets. They will take our energy, and as part of their family, they will take that energy, the negative energy that doesn't serve us, and they will store it in their body. And if they know how to do it, they will ground that energy into earth and release it. If they don't know how to do that, they might struggle to just process that burden themselves. And so I do really pay attention to Patch and his energy. And he's here because, first of all, I've seen all these questions, and this energy is much lighter. And I know afterwards he won't be looking at me trying to take some of that burden from me. And so I would, when your animal, your pet is not well, for example, please pay attention to yourself. If this was true for you, as it is for me, that my pet is able to take my energy that doesn't serve me and try and process it to take the burden off me, he's not, Patch isn't my energetic sponge or trash can, right? And so what I do is, whenever I see him having problems, what I'll often do to him is I'll start stroking him. I'll just say, please don't take any further burden from me, and please let go of this. And when we stroke a pet from the top of the head down across the spine and down through to the tail to their root chakras, as you're doing that, encourage them to say it out loud. Say, release any burden, release anything that doesn't serve your highest good, and help them release that into ground. Now, most of our animals are walking barefoot, so that's really, really helpful for them. You'll also see me to the point about encouraging more people to do this. So relatively early on in the first couple of years, I started doing what I call quantum psychic healing. I was doing some pet healings as well, and I find it just as intuitive, although it's a little bit more difficult to understand because I'm not a vet, or a doctor, to understand the anatomy. I do have a diploma in complementary therapies, so through reflexology and Swedish massage and Indian head massage. So I know a bit more about the physiology of humans, but it can require a bit more kind of open-mindedness and exploration as a healer. So I'm not talking specifically to you, Cosmic Light Source 111, more about any healers who are interested in working with pets. But certainly Viviane Heller, who I do weekly live streams with on Mondays and Thursdays, on my YouTube channel here. So you can see us at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Time, or 4:30 p.m. UK time. You can work those out for your times locally to you. We're there for a couple of hours twice a week, so Mondays and Thursdays, and we offer that as well for pets. So we just always ask that the person gets permission. They go and ask the pet first before we then do what is very energetically invasive healing and help them. But they're absolutely a key part. And Gaia really didn't expand beyond that, saying, she sees all life as equal, and that animals are spirits and souls and physical forms just as much as we are. And she said that she would never ascend a planet with just one species, or ever have any preference of one species over another. Okay, and the last question, well, it's not the last question, I've just got two more, but the last question from Angie Gutierrez, 223, is, I also wanted to ask about spiritual colors. Oh, I've already got this one. I think you're just asking what they are in general. You said like bluish purple and grayish white. I think the bluish purple I didn't really answer. earlier, and this is like a mix of between throat and third eye colors. You can feel into these, these different colors as well, and the meaning and the context as well. And I really encourage you to do that. You might be able to tell from me, I really don't research things online. I don't trust what I look at online. I don't always trust other teachers and what they say. I'm okay to be exposed to what others teach, but I really enjoy, or should I say, I really enjoy discerning and feeling into that. What are my experiences? And so, of course, you can ask me any question, but also encouraging you, Angie Gutierrez 223, and anyone else to just explore some of these colors and their meanings. And one really cool way that I do that is when I experience a color, I'll just place my hand in my heart, and first of all, pay attention to the feeling of that color, the emotion of it, because our emotional energies, some of our most powerful energy is a consciousness that we yield. It's really our emotional energy that creates the reality around us, that we're a consciousness being a torch that shines on the reality around us and helps create and influence it. And so the colors you're experiencing are often a reflection of how you're feeling in your heart. So ask your heart for that color you witness, how you're feeling about it. And then also you can ask that question about the meaning. What does it mean to me? Does it remind me of past lives, of different parts? We talked about chakras as one example. Does it remind you of tastes, feelings, emotions? All of these are interconnected together. So I hope that helps. Okay, and then our last question is from Seaweed Designs 3895. And it says, this is Kathy M. from USA, coastal North Coast. It's a coastal NC. Sorry, that's not North Coast. It's North Carolina, I think. And it says, I also enjoyed and appreciate your video. Thank you very much, Kathy M. Thank you, and Mother Gaia and your guides for your insight. You radiate love and light. Yay. Woo. For the future videos, do you see major hurricanes for the North Carolina? Let me read this again so I get the grammar right. Do you see major hurricanes for the coast of North Carolina near South Carolina line? Okay, so this seems specific to where you are, where you have loved ones, or both. Okay, so just asking Mother Gaia, and she's Gaia's. She's offering to open the answer to not just hurricanes. Yes, please open it to any significant events, and include. I'd like to open that question to my guides as well. So I'm being shown a series of storms that initially build up in the Atlantic. And the first storm is, Gaia was quite blasé about it. She was saying, you're used to these. So just coming up to hurricane force. So almost not worthy of reporting on, but that seems to be within this next, the next 2.5 months. And then there was a larger one, and so Gaia is describing it as a supercell, so much larger. I don't know if you heard my stomach, my sacral and solar plexus, is making a funny noise there. Okay, so this is and the link there is the solar plex. So my solar plexus was doing that because it was guiding me towards the sun, which I hadn't asked, of course. So including the sun in this question, there's an amplification of that energy of solar activity, and so that starts to affect this increase in the size and scale of storms. So there is a hurricane. This is later in the year. This feels that it's into November. Okay. And then she says a period of calm. So we asked about the North Carolina near the South Carolina line. But Gaia, can you explain anything more about it? Any preparation people need to make, or anything about the intensity? She says it's a big storm, as in its scope is large. To be fair, she was showing me this earlier, that it's large, and yet the storm isn't as powerful as feared. So the human reaction to this storm will be, it's because it'll be capable of creating, significant disruption and damage, and yet it feels that the impact is lesser. But it's definitely the response is not there's no such thing really as an overreaction in this case. So the warnings as they come, as the storm starts to be detected and building up, and it feels like there will be at least a few days before it hits land. Just being aware of, treat those seriously, and even if your intuition's like, maybe this isn't going to come to much, or it'll miss us where you live in specifically that area. It feels like it's going to go. She's showing me north. It'll touch land and then just start to work its way up north, and then head out to sea again. So yeah, I hope that helps you. Okay, so we're at time now. We're now at almost an hour and 26 minutes. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me in today's video. For the end of the week, I'll also be doing a video where we do an update on the predictions and work our way through the core of Mother Earth, the layers of the planet, the surface, the weather, the atmosphere, talking more with my spirit guides, Galactic Federation, the sun, and all the way up to Milky Way and across the universe as well. So really getting the latest news and predictions. Feel free to keep asking questions. I don't know if I'll make questions a regular slot dedicated to this, but it feels really, really powerful. And as I briefly mentioned earlier as well, if you're interested in Stefan Burns' work, please do visit his website. I love taking a look at his energy analytics. I just glanced through it earlier. I'm not great at reading it yet, but if you go to earthevolution.com/energy-analytics, you get this lovely web page describing a lot of the activity that's going on in the Earth and across the solar flares. So I would say keeping an eye on his channel is a good way of understanding in the short term what sort of impacts could be coming your way. And what I'd love to do with our scientists and of all their varying degrees of psychic and spiritual development is to also understand the consciousness behind this, to understand that what's driving these behaviors is not just some random planet or planetary body or star. That are very much Earth and the sun are very much alive, and there's this ascension energy flowing through them to help support our ascensions, to help raise the tide so we float up with these frequencies. So just encouraging everyone to also take some comfort in this as well, that this isn't just random devastation that somehow, without any conscious awareness or indeed any, control or governance. And a really strong aspect of this as well, you've heard me talk about this many times, is your consciousness, your heart is having the largest effect on what's happening. So there's this, we would call it in artificial intelligence, we'd call this a cyclical problem, where you kind of end up eating your own kind of dog food. So what that means is that when you watch a video like mine, my predictions are more likely to become true because you've watched them. And this might not be lost on you. You might already have some feeling about this, about, for instance, weather forecasting and the way that the artificial intelligence models, the algorithms predict weather, is that often they're reacting to this prediction of what our reaction is to what they're going to show. So it's, we see a weather forecast, it's going to rain today if it says it's going to rain. And then we read that, our consciousness says, okay, it's going to rain. And so it does rain, and so on. So this is why it's just always a good idea to continue to focus on these, aspects of conscious accountability and saying, I'm accountable for my reality. I'm accountable, contributing to the reality of our collective. So the more you face your shadows, the more you speak your truth, the more you meditate and focus on continuing to develop your happiness. Let go of all the things in your life that you don't want, shake them off and release those things and allow yourself to rise up. You're also going to help this whole planet. And we also like to thank our guides, our higher selves, Mother Gaia, the sun, and every soul that's participated in today's session. And thank you so much for your guidance and love and support. And we ask that you continue to support us through a smooth transition through the purging of what no longer serves the planet and what no longer serves our human race, to help our truths bubble up to the surface and to let the light of the sun be shone upon all of these truths that need to be shared, and allow our hearts to be sovereign and protected with strong boundaries, and yet open to help understanding and receiving these new concepts, these new paradigms, these new dimensions that are so new to many, including I, about what our true nature of our reality is. And we also send our love to all beings across this planet at this time who are experiencing any challenges, or who are living in fear or anxiety or burnt out, and poverty, whatever your challenges are. We send you so much love at this time. And we thank you for being with us here, sharing our same home on planet Earth. And know that we came here to help this whole world, all of us. Whether we fully understand how to yet or not, just know that doing the work inside yourself, supporting your own healing and happiness, doing your meditations, doing your movement, shaking off the things that no longer serve you, this all helps the whole planet. So keep going, dear soul. You got this. Thank you so much. I'll see you every day. You see me in my Highest John videos. I publish music most days, channeled from my spirit guides. So it's another format for me to express these messages. And I also look forward to you engaging with my free meditations, my 5D Ascension classes, which are free every couple of weeks live on YouTube, my live streams every Monday and Thursday, and then also sorry about that, also my training courses. The next one's coming up, the Higher Self Foundational Training Course in October. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Sending love from Scotland. Love you. Bye.